Okay, I had to go get another battery. So as I was saying, that somewhere in here, we had a little bit of a cluster. One of these guys wasn't paying attention, and one's trying to get in while one's trying to get out, who knows? Or whatever the case may be, I was having problems. Now, you figure, okay, it's a new gun, the first 50 rounds, anything's liable to happen. And then when I seen all the shavings, I said, okay, we got a little bit of an issue here. So Joey was with me, and I said, Joe, look at this. First time I buy a Glock, and it's acting up. He said, well, send it back. They'll take care of it. I said, Joe, I understand, that send it back, and hopefully they'll take care of this. All right, but, I didn't buy a gun to have it be sent back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Now, any gun can have a problem, Not every manufacturer is perfect. There's a few that's going to make it through. And apparently this was one of them. So I sent it back. It comes back to me. I go back up to the range with Joey, load it up. Bam, 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 bam. Oops. Bam, 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 bam. Stovepipe. Now when I say stovepipe, it's not with an empty. It was a loaded cartridge. All right. Bam, bam, bam. Oop. Bam, bam. Anyway. Make a long story short, shaving lead again, call them up, not just lead, everything. And that's when I found out that they told no lead. Now I wasn't sure about the lead thing, but I'm talking to the guy on the phone, and it actually became a Laurel and Hardy routine. Guy says to me, what's it doing? I said, it's shaving lead. He goes, well, that's the problem. I said, I know that's the problem. That's why I sent it back to you the first time. He goes, yeah, that's the problem. He says, shaving lead. I said, yeah, it's shaving lead. He goes, well, that's the problem. I said, okay. I really didn't feel like playing, Laurel and Hardy here. Finally, he comes out and says, you can't put lead through a Glock. If you put lead through a Glock, he says, you'll probably get 1,000 rounds through it. He says, you start hitting 1,200 rounds, you may start having problems. He says, you start hitting 1,400 rounds, you may be having serious problems where you're going to blow the gun up. He says, you cannot put lead through a Glock. Oh, okay. Yeah. Now, if you clean it, if you do 100 rounds, you're one of those guys, you go to the range, you blow 100 rounds, you take it home, you clean it, chances are pretty good you're going to get all the lead out of the barrel. All right, that's fine. But if you're a guy like myself that does 13, 14, 1,800 rounds or better in a day sometimes, you think about it, that's not a lot of rounds. If you're pulling the trigger and you're doing a lot of rapid fire exercises, you're going to go through, 3, 4, 5, 600 rounds in no time, So to put down, 1,000 rounds, 1,500 rounds in a day is really, it's not a hard thing to do. But anyway, went back to him again. I get it back, doing the same thing. So I'm done. I'm done with Glock. That's all there is to it. So I've been using it as a training aid because when it does act up, it gives the student an opportunity to do the rack, rack, and reassess, or rack, ready. So it gives them an opportunity to practice that exercise, because you get a newbie that's taking the basics of handgun and they have that problem. It's not in the manual, in the basics. It's not in the training. It's not in the class. All right, but it happens. So I add it to the class. There's a lot of things that I add, as other instructors do. I'm not the only one to add things to the class. You want to give the best you can, okay, especially to newbies. So that's something that I'm glad that it happens. I had that little Mosquito 22 that, God, I mean, you guys know that I finally just disabled that completely because it just turned out to be the biggest piece of shit ever. And that was a SIG, and I like 6 hours. I would never buy another Mosquito. But anyway, that's the problem. So a couple months ago we used it, and I had it in here, and I was cleaning it. And as I was cleaning it, I noticed something, because I took the magazine. Let me get a magazine here. And I said, why is this thing acting up? I'm still trying to figure out why is it acting up. So I throw the magazine in, and I'm looking at it. And if you look at that there, I don't know if you can notice it, but that round has got a cant to it. It's facing off to the left. And not just a little bit. I mean, I don't know if you noticed it or not on film, but that's not just a little cant. That's quite a bit. So I said, well, you know what? The slide's not on it. The barrel isn't lined up. Maybe it's not that's off. Maybe I'm just off. So I take the magazine out and I put the slide on it. I lock the slide back, put the magazine back in it, and now I'm looking at it trying to line it up with the barrel. And you know what? It's off. So, well, okay, you know what? The barrels have a little bit of move to them. Things have a little bit of move, give. You know, maybe that little bit is not a big deal. Maybe it's just characteristic to the gun. I don't know. And I still don't know, okay? So I take out a few of my other guns and I check them. I mean, the Beretta, the SIG, the FN. I even took out one of the Skies, the Sky 2. They're right on the money. I look at this one; it's got that cant to it. It's off to the left. I say, well, I wonder if that is the problem, because if it's not feeding properly, it's a strong possibility that the casing is going to get hung up on the side of the barrel of the chamber. Now you got the ramp, which is polished, all right, so it's going to feed up on that all right, but there's no ramps on the side, so I wonder if that's part of the problem. So I went and got the rest of my magazines out, and they all did the same thing. So this one, I put 2 layers of masking tape on this side, thinking it'll push it over, and then I put 2 layers on the back side to push it over. So what I'm trying to do is twist this a little bit. So when I put that in, all right, which it goes in a little stiff, but I'm just trying to see if that's the case. It's starting to straighten it out, but not enough. And I can't even turn it anymore by hand to make it straighten out. So, it doesn't tell me that it's the magazines. What I'm thinking is the magazine housing is this handle, I believe, has a little bit of a twist in it. And because of that, that's why that is canted off to the left. Now, I haven't been able to get a hold of a friend of mine that has one, the same one, to see. The gun shop hasn't got one, so I can't check it with theirs. There is another gun shop about 40 miles from here, but I haven't had a chance to get up there yet. But I have been talking with Glocl, and they're basically telling me to go pound sand. Because even though it was back to them twice within the first year that I bought the gun, from then till now, I've kind of just said, forget about it. And I've just been ignoring it. I'm using it as a training aid. I don't use it. I take it to the range every now and then, hoping, you follow me? But even if it did start to work out, I still couldn't trust it. I still wouldn't use this gun as a carry gun, you know? So at that point, well, why did you wait this long? Well, it's just long before I actually found what I thought it is, because I've been looking into it, you know, and when I was cleaning it this time, you know, I threw the mag in and I noticed it. It was just everything fell into place, you know, but they really don't seem to care too much about it. So for that reason alone, all right, 1, it not working. 2, being back to them twice, still not working. Third part, I can understand to a point, but still, it's not an excuse. I think I found the problem, and just because it's been time, all right, they're telling me to go pound sand, basically. All right, so 1, the gun's not working. It didn't work from day 1. I don't know if I'd ever trust another Glock. Even though everybody's getting good Glocks out there, I got a bad one. That puts a bad taste in my mouth. 2, when I finally think I found the problem and I need some assistance from Glock to help me take care of the problem, they don't want to know nothing. So bad service. That's a no-no with me. All right, so for those 2 reasons, I don't think I'd ever buy another Glock. Now, if you think about it too, when I was talking to this kid Joey, the one that told me he has no problem with his Glock, and it could very well be he hadn't had a problem. However, he would have never known. because when I was talking to him about it, he says, well, I never had a problem with mine. He says, I bought it at the same place I bought this one. He says, and I took it to JoJo's. Well, JoJo's is a custom gun manufacturer, repair, builder. You know, he's like the guy. And he charged Joey $800 to go through the Glock. So Joey spent $660 plus change. Then he comes to brand new without firing it, gets it to this JoJo's, and JoJo hits him for another $800 to work on it. So what the hell did he do for $800? There isn't $800 worth of parts in this damn thing. He changed out the slide. Well, why did you have him change the slide? He changed out the barrel. Well, I can understand the barrel, because if you want to shoot lead, you got to change the barrel. Right? Changed out the trigger. He changed out everything. You know, the firing, everything in that gun. So I told him, Joe, you haven't got a Glock anymore. I said, you got a mongrel. You got all kinds of pieces in there. All right? So even if there was a bad piece or a bad this or a bad that, you'd never know because you changed everything out in the gun. And if you guys think about it, now I'm not knocking anybody for it, but if you think about it, I've been watching Glocks on YouTube. And like 95% of you guys out there have done things to your Glocks. All right? So nobody, except for very few, have a stock Glock. You know, so hello, you'll never know if you had a problem or not. You know, or did you have problems, and that's why you changed out some of the stuff. You know, a lot of guys won't admit when they have a problem. They'll just pawn it off and try to sell it so they get something else. You know, not caring if they pawn off a bad item or not. You know, as long as they get their money back, they don't care. So I'm not going to say it's bad. You know, I love it. So, yeah, and because of that, you know, who knows? You know, are they all that bad? I don't know. I'll never know, and I don't think I'll buy another one to find out just because of the service. Come on, you tell somebody to go pound sand when you think you found the problem that's been back to him twice for. You know, so. But other than that, that's where I'm at with the Glocks. And again, I was having the same problem that you're having. I'm still having the same problem. You know, so hopefully yours works out, or you find a problem, you correct the problem, and if you do, let me know. All right, because maybe that's the same problem. Maybe I can correct my problem. I don't know. You know, but one thing at a time. And right now, it's not a Glock for me. You know, take it one step at a time, guys. That's why I don't like Glocks. Now again, everybody can make a bad gun. Some guys knock the sky, the SCCYs. Fortunately for me, I got two good ones. I have no problems with mine, other than one of them, the pin in the back wanted to work out a little bit after about 400 rounds. But I tapped it back in, and it's been fine since. They sent me oversized, which I never used. I have them, but I never used them because everything's been fine. But I had no problems with feeding, no problems with any with the guns. Other than originally with the first guy that I bought, I had a problem with the magazines. All right, which could cause problem with the gun if you didn't catch it, if you didn't know enough to look at it, all right, and know how the magazine's supposed to work. Let's face it, some guys buy guns and they don't really know enough to check everything before they get involved. So, but yeah, we all have our bad guns and good guns. Luckily, I have really never gotten a bad gun. You know, I've been pretty good. The Glock is the first time I've gotten a bad one. You know, I've gotten guns that have been a little sensitive. Well, the Mosquito, but I don't call that a gun. All right. But I've had guns that were a little sensitive to ammo. But as far as guns that really screw up, I haven't had any issues. You know, and the ones that have been ammo sensitive, after enough use, you know, that kind of cleared up. But like I say, you know, 99.9% of the time, I always shoot brass. You know, the only time I may put aluminum or something else in my gun is if I'm someplace and I run out and that's all somebody has, you know, or somebody wants me to try it in my gun because it's not working in their gun or something like that. But, you know, 99.99999% of the time I use brass. So. And usually I won't use anything that's any more than once fired. You know, I may go twice fired, but I don't reload. I buy it right. I buy enough of it to buy it right, so there's no sense in me reloading. So, all right, guys, I'll catch you later. Bye.